Welcome back, frienderinos. Let's go check in with our crew, shall we?
Glad to see you're okay, Commander.
Commander,
I'm glad to see you're okay. Losing Jenkins was hard on the crew, and I'm glad we didn't lose you too.
I like Caden. I know a lot of people think he's boring or whatever, but there's a lot of characters that I like or even love that a lot of people that seem to have this vocal, and probably minority, but vocal amount of people in the community that don't enjoy him. But I really feel like that, like harping on that and having that type of opinion is something people need to move away from in general. But, you know, apologies, a little bit of, apologies for the jump cut there, a little bit of, Marie stuff in, it's all Gucci. So.
Things were pretty rough down there.
Yeah, you never get used to seeing dead civilians. Doesn't seem right somehow. But at least you stopped Saren from wiping out the whole colony.
I couldn't have done it without you.
We're Marines. We stick together. And I'm just sorry that we lost Jenkins.
Yeah, I wish I could have done something to save him.
I was there. You did everything right. It was just bad luck. It's been a hell of a shakedown, Cruz. Our first mission ends with one Spectre killing another. The Citadel Council's not gonna be happy about that. Probably use it to lever more concessions out of the Alliance.
You've got a good grasp of the situation. You a career man?
Yeah, a lot of biotics are. We're not restricted, but we sure don't go undocumented. May as well get a paycheck for it. Besides, my father served. I made him proud when I enlisted. Eventually. But is that why you're here? Because of your family?
But yeah, see, that's another thing. He's a career man. His parents were career mans. He's that kind of person. And he's played very stereotypically in some ways, but I still think he's played well, both by the voice actor and written well as well. He's played well by the voice actor and he's written well as well. I just feel like a lot of people don't like Caden for kind of petty reasons. And I think that honestly people will play through a game and then judge things they see and then just stick to that judgment and never seem to question if that judgment in their mind is something that's helpful to anyone ever or just causes them anger as they play the game for that really doesn't do anyone any good. I don't know. That's just how I see a lot of that kind of stuff that people get on about.
I was a regular Navy brat. I got a little more noteworthy than the folks expected.
Oh, that's right, a cruise. I imagine that bought you any post in the fleet. Word is we're heading for the Citadel, ma'am. Can you, tell me why?
The captain hopes the ambassador can get an audience with the council. Tell them what Saren's been up to.
Makes sense. They'd probably like to know he's not working for them anymore. Whatever happens, we'll be ready, Commander.
One thing about Caden, though, is, they kind of force you into a romance with him, and I think I'm not even close to the only person that... I know I'm not even close to the only person that canon ships Shepard with Liara the entire trilogy, so yeah. Now I'm going to be doing non-canon playthroughs, but this first one's going to be my canon, or at least as much as I can make it. And I might actually revise my canon and do it a different way later on. Probably going to end up doing several Let's Plays of this series at this point.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
Let's talk to good old Chocolates.
How did you end up serving on an Alliance ship?
I enlisted right out of med school. Earth always seemed boring to me. Too safe, too secure. I figured the colonies were teeming with exotic adventure. I wanted to travel the stars, tending the wounds of tough soldiers with piercing eyes and sensitive souls. Turns out military life isn't quite as romantic as I'd imagined. But humanity needs the Alliance if we want to keep expanding through the Traverse. And the Alliance always needs good doctors. so I stayed on to do my part.
I love Dr. Chakwas. I love her voice actors and accents. I love her personality. She's just a good person. I mean, she's a doctor, you know? It makes sense. I love her outlook on life, too. I don't know, she's a very deep character. She's clearly is very philosophical in her approach and very deep thinking, and I'm one of those people. I mean, you probably have gotten that if you've watched this far, and by the way, thank you for those that might have done so. But yeah, so, like... I have many spirit animal characters in games. She's definitely one of those.
Ever think you made the wrong choice?
Sometimes I think about opening a private practice back on Earth. Or maybe taking a position at one of the new med centers out in the colonies. But there's something special about working on soldiers. If I left the Alliance now, I'd feel like I was abandoning them.
She's a good person, man. Also, really kudos to the dialogue writer here. I really feel like she's a well-written character, and that these lines are just... I love the way that these lines are written and spoken. I love her. I love Chakwas. And I love everything about how she's implemented, at least in 1 and 2. And actually, I don't remember. I feel like I like her in 3 too. I honestly feel like a lot of my gripes about 3 come from other people more than my own head. And I think that's a lot of people, because 3 was overblownly criticized. I understand why, but it's still a good game. It still has some good things about it.
I should go.
And
Goodbye,
it's all subjective anyway. What I think is good, someone might think is a bad thing. And welcome to being human, I guess. It's what makes us diverse and an interesting species, and what makes life really varied and awesome, etc. Among other things, but awesome is one of the things that the diversity makes. You know, and of course that's all subjective too. A lot of things are way more subjective than a lot of people get in their heads, and that's probably part of why there's so much suffering. And that's the number one reason, I'm 100% certain. Because I've been able to unravel a lot of the suffering that I used to perpetuate in my own head, and that was 90% of my suffering. My life is so much better, and it's pretty much looks the same on the outside than it would have a year ago.
I'm glad you're okay, Commander. Losing Jenkins was hard enough on the crew.
Indeed, especially on the commander herself, as most of these crew members would probably infer. Because yeah, Akuz was losing enough soldiers for her. She really, really doesn't like losing them. She's really not in a good place about that right now, but she's continuing to keep her on a professional front about it all. Of course, because that's what you do in this kind of situation and position. She's accepted that. She wishes she could be more upfront with people. She will have others for that later. I mean, in canon, there's a bit of a support system I have with her, with people she'll meet later, who I love, all of. Regardless, I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna make sure I have all the codex entries. I do believe the only other codex entry we get from an XP point, except for the one on that comms terminal I just grabbed, is in here, the FTL comm. So let's actually stand here for a second, and I'm actually going to cut this here, and I'm going to continue this episode after this, but the next episode after this will be all the codex entries read out and commentated upon in a separate episode. And I'll do one of these after every major mission, after every planet's done, basically. So, yeah. But that's for next episode, so let us continue.
I'm glad you're okay, Commander. Losing Jenkins was hard enough on the crew.
Yeah, especially hard on Shepard herself here. For sure. Rip that grill. Definitely that boy. Really rip that boy. Literally. Rippity. Right, by the way, is there anyone to talk to down here? I think maybe the commander. I don't think we've talked to Chakwas or... No, we talked to Chakwas and Caden, but that's all I've done so far. I think. I do believe so, right? Yes. I'm gonna say yes. If I didn't, please let me know, friends, and I'll go talk to her later.
I'm glad you're okay,
But
Commander.
actually, I know I haven't.
The crew could use some good news after what happened to Jenkins.
Because the thing is that I've had to redo some takes here, and yeah, I don't know if I've actually done Chakwas in one of the takes I'm going to actually use. So I'll probably go through an editing, and if that's not a thing, I will go ahead and I will record her then. So it won't affect you guys anyway. I like coming up with solutions. It's great. All right.
Jenkins was a valuable part of this crew.
Part of me feels guilty over what happened. If Jenkins was still alive, I might not be here.
Oh yeah. Shepard feels that one. For sure. For sure, sure.
You're a good soldier, Williams. You belong on the Normandy.
Thanks, Commander. I appreciate that.
Things were pretty rough down there. Are you okay?
I've seen friends die before. Comes with being a Marine. But to see my whole unit wiped out, and you never get used to seeing dead civilians. But things would have been a lot worse if you hadn't shown up.
We couldn't have done it without you, Williams.
Thanks, Commander. I have to admit, I was a little worried about being assigned to the Normandy. It's nice when someone makes you feel welcome.
I think you're gonna fit in here just fine, Williams.
Thanks, Commander.
I just love being a friendo. And I don't hate Ashley like a lot of people. In fact, I don't hate people the same way people do, which I think is something everyone should examine why and stop doing if they can. Because it's just... I think the reason I don't hate is because from a young age I saw what hate does to people, and I endeavored to not be like that, and I'm not. So, yeah. It's very, very liberating. Now, sometimes I am. Sometimes I have been. Sometimes I get angry enough to feel like I hate people for a second, and I'm like, what am I doing? So, you know, I'm still human, but I try my best to never hate, and it just works most of the time, and it's beautiful.
Joker's
Whoops.
waiting for you on the bridge.
By the way, okay, so yeah, that conversation is over with.
Yes, Commander?
Okay,
Is there something you need?
I can still investigate and
Goodbye,
talk to her
Commander.
as much as possible later, but I think I did do this on camera. If I didn't, though, I mean, I might end up just talking to her later after this mission anyway, just to make 100% sure. We'll see. But for now, I think let's actually just go up to Joker, because I think there's no one else to talk to here. I don't think there's... Wait. There's Captain Anderson down here. One last person. Captain Anderson. Because I know he's over here. Over here in what will end up becoming Miranda's office later in at ME2. Different ship, though. Hello.
Go speak to Joker
Okay.
when you're ready. Tell him to bring the Normandy into dock.
Yes, sir. Aye, aye, sir. Yeah, that'd be an aye, aye, sir. I like being able to roleplay in these games quite a bit. They really do give you a lot of tools to be able to. A lot of means. Especially if you have a little bit of imagination to make it happen. And I do. And it's beautiful. Whew. Hello, Joker. Let's get going.
Good timing, Commander. I was just about to bring us into the Citadel. See that taxpayer money at work.
Look at the size of that ship.
The Ascension, flagship of the Citadel fleet.
Well, size isn't everything.
Why so touchy, Joker?
I'm just saying you need firepower, too.
Look at that monster. Its main gun could rip through the barriers in any ship in the Alliance fleet.
Good thing it's on our side, then.
Citadel Control, this is SSV Normandy, requesting permission to land.
Stand by for clearance, Normandy. Clearance granted. You may begin your approach. Transferring you to an Alliance operator.
By the way,
Roger, Alliance Tower.
this is clearly a routine thing that's established. It really just makes you
Normandy, this is Alliance Tower. Please
having kind of normal routine type stuff, you know, in here really kind of in your game, you know, in kind of a tasteful, scripted way, really does help to. Man, the way that ring arcs out into the distance is so
would
cool.
step in if the
I
Geth
love that.
attacked a Turian colony?
I love the way the Presidium is. It's so.
The Turians don't found colonies on the borders of the Terminus systems, Ambassador.
Humanity was well aware of the risks when you went into the Traverse.
What about Saren? You can't just ignore a rogue Spectre. I demand action!
You don't get to make demands of the Council, Ambassador.
Citadel Security is investigating your charges against Saren. We will discuss the CSEC findings at the hearing, not before.
Captain Anderson, I see you brought half your crew with you.
Just the ground team from Eden Prime, in case you had any questions.
I have the mission reports. I assume they're accurate?
They are. Sounds like you convinced the Council to give us an audience.
They were not happy about it. Saren's their top agent. They don't like him being accused of treason.
Saren's a threat to every human colony out there. He needs to be stopped. The Council has to listen to us.
Settle down, Commander. You've already done more than enough to jeopardize your candidacy for the Spectres. The mission on Eden Prime was a chance to prove you could get the job done. Instead, Nihilus ended up dead and the beacon was destroyed.
That's Saren's fault, not hers.
Then we better hope the CSEC investigation turns up evidence to support our accusations. Otherwise, the Council might use this as an excuse to keep you out of the Spectres. Come with me, Captain. I want to go over a few things before the hearing. Shepard, you and the others can meet us at the Citadel Tower, top level. I'll make sure you have clearance to get in.
And that's why I hate politicians.
Yeah, Udina's a jerk, but it makes sense. The lore runner, who is a huge inspiration for me for doing this kind of content, he really does touch on something that I think is extremely apt. He says that Udina is a prick, but he's a necessary prick for this type of situation humanity's in, and the goals they want to accomplish with the Council. He's naturally, because of his personality, gonna keep pushing and pushing until humanity at large gets what it wants from here. Makes a lot of sense, right? Anywho, so yeah, Udina's a necessary evil right now, though I would argue not for the whole trilogy. Whew, for this game especially, though, yes. Alliance Patrol Report. Captain Hendrickson sneezed! Excuse me. Reported some unusual energy readings during a protocol of the Argus Road. During a patrol, not protocol. Yeah, dude. Durgan of the Argus Road Cluster. She had particular concerns about the Hydra system, but was recalled before her team could investigate further. No patrols are scheduled for that sector. Do we want to send in a recon team? No, how about we send Shepard? Later, anyway. Because, we're not going to be able to go back on the Normandy for a little bit yet. For a little while. And, the Citadel here is a pretty huge little section. Which, we'll be doing starting next episode. So I hope y'all have wondrous days. And, like, comment, subscribe if you wanna. And I will see y'all in the next episode. Bye-bye.